Hello, Lindsey T.H. Jackson.
Hello, Poet Laureate Abby E. Murray.
How's your week?
Oh, I've been waiting all week to get back to two poets talking about race because, what I've noticed this week is that we're not talking about it as much as last week already.
Yes, I am noticing that as well, for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a march. I didn't go to a march this week. I haven't put myself anywhere this week.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the week before that, I was still going out. So it does feel like something's changing in the movement, but not necessarily stopping. It doesn't feel, or at least maybe that's like just around here being the Pacific Northwest. CHOP, the Occupied protest, is still front page news every day, and what's going on there. But I don't know, do you feel like things are changing or slowing down and thinking away from consciousness again?
I still think, similar to what we spoke about last week, that there are better questions being asked and the dialogue is richer and more nuanced.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I found myself very suspicious of, images of food or fashion creeping back into my feed.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, are we already?
Mm-hmm.
So what I will say is I feel like more people are mobilized and more people are continuing the discussion, but still not enough.
Yeah. And then maybe it feels like maybe it's losing some of that momentum because some of the momentum is being shared with things that feel completely almost inappropriate and unfamiliar right now. Fashion, food, those things that we turn to either clear our minds or to distract us.
Yeah, to numb.
Yeah, completely. And I think too with this week when I was writing, I was thinking specifically about, I was sitting in here, I have this window right here and it's really bright outside. It's warm. I can hear birds. People want to go outside. People want to go, claim their summer, and get away from all this struggle. Like they can just put it down and put it away and, go claim the summer that we've been waiting for. And that was one thing that I wrote about this week, was just like, how do we struggle and how do we grieve and how do we do all this when, the sky is this saturated blue, and how do we do that when birds are singing? How do we feel great loss when it's so beautiful outside?
Well, it's interesting. Last night I was teaching at an event called the Connection Feast, and I was speaking about the topic of power and why throughout history we have been working to do everything to avoid ceding power from the very few who hold pure power. And it was interesting. There was a woman there, very involved, very active, and yet what I didn't say that I wish I had said was, do you see how even in this moment you cannot cede power to me as a Black woman? You cannot even cede the stage that I have been invited. I am being paid a large sum to speak upon, right? And in this moment, I think we have such an opportunity to look to those who have traditionally been most marginalized to say, how is it that you fight the struggle every day as an individual, as a mother trying to raise children in a world that makes them aware of their ethnicity when they should be focused on how to build Legos?
Hmm.
How do you do that and enjoy the sun and put your feet in the soil and find joy and sing songs, make beautiful music, dance,
Yeah.
right? Like, this is our opportunity to teach
Hmm.
all of those who have the ability to just put it aside to say, this is how you think about this every moment
Hmm.
and find a joy in the fabric of existence.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you teach justice in an unjust world? Um, how do you teach health in an unhealthy, in a sick environment?
Mm.
How do we do that? I mean, that's a question I'm wondering when I'm teaching May anything. I mean, and she's 6. She's asking a lot of questions right now, and I am wondering, how do I teach her this? How do I teach her to be healthy enough to keep going, to stand up, um, to value her energy, to value where she stands, value her voice and protect it, but also use it.
Yeah.
Um, and that's hard. And I don't really think I know the answer. So it's a little difficult to teach. I feel like I'm flying by the seat of my pants, and I'm I'm making stuff up sometimes
Yeah.
as I go.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's like the one benefit is that May is 6 and she has no idea that I have no clue what I'm doing. Like, no idea.
Building the plane as we fly it, literally. Like how I told you yesterday, I was learning how to build a dishwasher, and
Really cool skill.
I, uh, I'm so actually, now that I have that skill, I will bring it up as much as possible. I know how to now connect the pokey things and screw them
Yeah.
in order to attach a plug to the
Yeah.
back of. Thank you, Chris Barron, if you're listening. Um, but this is what was beautiful is that my children, as I was demeaning myself through this process, they were going, "Mommy, I think you're doing a good job. I think you're doing okay, Mommy. You didn't know, but you're giving it a go. We're proud of you."
Thank
My
you.
7 and my 5-year-old, right? Like, they get it. We don't
Yeah.
know shit.
I'm so glad for 5-year-olds. I'm so glad that they're here with us. Like, where would we be? I mean, and, putting together a dishwasher is a skill that you might not have had a week ago, and now you do. And if we ever have uncomfortable parties or gatherings again, you will be able to talk about putting together a dishwasher. Hey, has
Name's
anyone
Lindsey.
here put together a dishwasher? I'm going to be over here by the corn dogs in case you want to hear about it.
Party
Like,
trick. Party trick.
yeah, yes, exactly. Mine is I can change the thermostat in a dryer. Um, Thank you, YouTube. And I'm waiting to use that at an uncomfortable party. Be like,
I don't know, a party. You can come use that at my house. Just
yeah,
get
I
on over
can.
here. I'll be doing these ones. Shout out to our favorite future
Yeah,
sponsor,
our
Starbucks.
sponsor.
While you're fixing my thermostat, I'll be doing these ones.
Yes.
Don't forget to clean that up. Don't forget to clean that up.
Well, I'm going to read a poem. I think I know what one I want to read.
Mm.
Think it's like I like this going back and forth with poems that we've written and poems that we've read, texts that we've read, texts that we've written. Um, I think that's kind of fun. So I think I'm gonna read this short poem. I think it's gonna be a sonnet, and this is I
Mm.
just wrote this down yesterday, so it's not I haven't had time to really do um, a whole lot with this. So I feel like I'm still reading it new. Um,
Yeah.
not entirely sure where it wants to go yet, but um, I was thinking about um, the memorials that we see on the side of the road at intersections where crimes have been committed. Um, the way candles look in public when we're so used to seeing candles in our homes or in a church. The sound, the scrape of a candle jar on the sidewalk is a really strange sound.
Mm.
And I was thinking about grieving and um, how we can reconcile grieving with, a blue sky, how we can reconcile mourning with birdsong. Um, and so this is called How to Grieve in Broad Daylight.
Mom, Mama, Mama, do you not want to more? You not want it, or you? No, I'm just asking you. Do you?
No, you.
No, no. Tell me.
I'll have it later. No, this is your ring. Future poet.
Totally future poet. This
Mm.
is the ring finger.
It's the ring finger. I'm going. Don't put the ring on that finger. That you know too
It just
young.
reminds me of like all the questions that you get at strange times. This morning, May's question was out of nowhere. Mom, what are rabies? We had not been talking about anything even remotely connected to rabies or even bats or dogs or anything. Like, it's a good question.
Which is a perfect segue back to candles scraping on the road
Right.
and other things we're not expecting to hear.
Yes, exactly.
See what I did there? That was good.
I see what you did there. Slick. How to Grieve in Broad Daylight. I'm here to tell you it can be done, has been done, by those whose grief swelled inside them like a child, was born and refused to be put down. Grief that blistered in the sun but wished to be taken to the beach more often. Grief that stomped in pools of salt water and pointed out every dying thing. Trauma makes mothers of us all. And there are days I hold my grief in public as it screams in my arms, turns itself red with rage and weeping. People stare, wish I'd leave or drop it. It takes every muscle I am to sing to it.
Can you read the line again about the grieving pools?
Grief that blistered in the sun but wished to be taken to the beach more often. Grief that stomped in pools of salt water and pointed out every dying thing.
I mean, one, hearing that you envision it as a sonnet, I think, uh, many of us sort of, when you just first hear sonnet, obviously you're going to think of Shakespeare's sonnets, but I think often we think of love sonnets, and grief is a type of love, love that is looking for an outlet and not being able to put its hands on its source. And so the idea of this being a sonnet just, that just rolls through me. But these images here of how do we grieve publicly? How do we make space for that unabashedly and vulnerably and hold one another in that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like it's a lot. I mean, I think about how grief and sadness it's often this thing that we think of, we need to get rid of it. We need to find a way to end it. And in truth, we need to find a way to care for it. to look at it and say, you're my grief. I'm going to take care of you now. And how similar that is to like having a child and needing to take care of it, because it's something that is always going to be with you, no matter how old it gets. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this week. But what did you bring in?
I feel we're done there. You know, the good thing about an artist is knowing when to leave the stage.
Yeah.
And I want to leave us with that, because that was just so powerful and such a beautiful conundrum for all of us to go explore. And, you know, Abby and I, as always, invite you to share your poems, your thoughts, your brainstorms, your paintings, your dance. How are you processing the grief of this moment? All the things that we thought about the world a few months ago, and now either what we know to be true, or as we begin to imagine something new, there's a grief in that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And,
share with us how the movement, how your involvement, how your understanding of race is changing with a season, and how you don't, like, what your plans are. How are you going to keep alive? How are you going to keep going? How are you going to keep fighting? I want to hear this from people. And people can send that to gritcitypoetlaureate@gmail.com. Both Lindsey and I can respond to that. So yeah, I want people to respond.
wow. Two poets talk about race.
Yes.
We'll see you next week.
Okay.
Oh,